Hi everyone, thank you all for joining this second 99 Designs webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started now. So this is Jason Suhoy. I'm Jason, Chief Growth Officer at 99 Designs, and today really excited because we've got a special guest for you. We've got Cody from Duda coming to share his expertise on designing for conversion. Now, whether you're an agency, a business person, or maybe a designer, you'll know already that design is a lot more than aesthetics. It has to convert. And what Cody's going to share with us today are the top mistakes we can all avoid to accelerate the design process and get more quickly to a design that both looks and converts great. Now, it's a responsive website platform that has over 6 million websites hosted on their platform. So, you can rest assured, Cody and the team at Duda know what works when it comes to great websites, and not only great-looking websites, but high-performing websites as well. So, welcome, Cody, and thank you for coming to share with us today.
Well, thank you, Jason. What a great intro. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to be talking with you guys today. I've been a big fan of 99 Designs for a while. Fun fact, back when Duda was just getting started, we actually used 99 Designs to create one of our first mobile websites for the incubator that we were in at 500 startups in Mountain View, California. So you guys have been around for a long time. You guys are definitely experts in the field, and we're really excited to be working with you guys today. Plus, you guys sponsor some awesome podcasts like Smart Passive Income, one of my favorites. So I'm really excited to be talking with you guys today, so it's really cool for us too. Let's go ahead and pop off here. Let's get to the next slide. So I'll introduce myself. Here I am. That is not my favorite picture of me, but there I am with untamed beard and all. My name's Cody. I'm the Manager of Education here at Duda. I work with the products every day. We are a website builder, like Jason mentioned. So I spend a lot of my time working within the product, doing tutorials, support articles, webinars, lots of stuff. So if you come on over to Duda at any point, you'll see me in a lot of webinars and education that we do here and outreach. So I'm really excited to get to talk with you guys today as well. Let's move on to our agenda. So so now introducing ourselves, before we get too deep, I do want to mention that we are recording today's webinar, so if you guys do miss it or if you show up late, we will be sending out a replay to everyone who registered, so that will be going out. That's a very common question that we get asked. And basically I'm going to talk a little bit about Duda, and then I'm going to get into the 7 mistakes designers make. Good news is it's going to be kind of a shorter webinar today. It's going to be probably about 15 minutes worth of material to go through, and then I'm going to save some time for questions and answers at the end. So it's not going to take up too much of your day, and I'm really excited to just kind of go through this and get to chat with you guys. So if that sounds good, let's go ahead and get started with 7 mistakes that designers make. Oh, sorry, let's get started with a company overview. Talk a little bit about Duda. I swear I've done this before. Okay, so at Duda, we are a responsive website builder. We try to differentiate ourselves from the other responsive website builders you might be aware of, or other website builders you've seen before, with some time-saving content import features. So we've got features that let you import content directly into sites that you're building for clients. So you can access this content, and it really just kind of cuts down your project kickoff time. And then we also offer website personalization that's built into the platform, which is kind of like a marketing automation, which lets you set up conditions on a website that automatically trigger actions, such as displaying different content or pop-ups or things like that. And we really focus more on the pro market. That's people who build websites for other people, whether you're an agency, a freelancer. This is the type of person that we're really geared towards. We're less geared towards direct small businesses, and that's where we find the most success. We're more professional level website builder than a lot of the DIY platforms you may be familiar with. Like Jason mentioned, we launched in 2010, and we do have over 6 million sites on the platform, and we're pretty proud of that. That's a pretty big number. We've grown pretty fast over the last few years here. So, and we worked with some pretty cool companies you might be familiar with. We've got some logos over there. And these are some people that we've worked with and use our platform or technology in some way or another, and we're pretty excited about that as well. I'm here in Palo Alto, California. Our engineers and R&D team is in Tel Aviv, Israel. So we are an international company, which is it's kind of fun, kind of challenging at sometimes, but it does give us a nice perspective and helps us have more of a global reach. So we're not just focused in the U.S. We do have support guys here, support guys across the pond, so to speak, and cover different hours as well. That being said, let's get into our tips here. If PowerPoint will cooperate with me. Okay, there we go. 7 conversion-killing mistakes. So the first one is just making a site responsive. I think that a lot of people maybe kind of just focus on making a website. Maybe if you're building a site with WordPress or like using a responsive theme, you're really not paying close attention to mobile conversion, and this can be a huge mistake, especially for your client's revenue. Because just having a responsive theme alone isn't enough to really maximize conversion. You actually need to pay attention to that mobile user in order to really focus on getting that mobile conversion rate up. And Google is starting to pay more attention to how well you design for the mobile experience. And you can actually take note of that based on their kind of past history over the last couple of years. Starting with mobile get-in, they started talking about design, making sure that you're using buttons on mobile versus text links, that they can't be too close together. Then they actually started whether or not you have a mobile design, an SEO indicator. That's kind of important if you think about that. They're actually making design a SEO indicator, which is like kind of a big step for Google. It's not just content that indicates or that dictates how well your site performs in search results. It's actually your design as well affects that now as well. So that was kind of the big deal with mobile get-in. And now they're starting to push it even further. They're getting even tighter with how flexible they allow mobile sites to be. They're starting to they're going to make having pop-ups or interstitials on mobile pages that try to get you to download an app. That's going to be negatively affect your SEO. And now they've published guidelines in their own little mini framework called AMP to help started to help publishers make mobile websites, and they're expanding that project, and that's going to continue to grow. So how much attention you pay to your mobile offering is going to be really, really important. Just using a responsive site or just using a responsive template and not really focusing on mobile is really going to be a mistake, especially in going forward. Our next mistake, now this might seem a little counterintuitive, is building a site mobile first or desktop first, because that really puts emphasis on one end or the other. And neither of those is really correct. Really the best way to build a site is to consider how that end user is going to use the site regardless of the device that they're on. You need to put importance on desktop, you also need to put importance on mobile, and you also need to put importance on tablets. And ideally, instead of really focusing on one and then letting it trickle down to the other devices, you really need to be considering that user experience on each device separately. And using a website builder or just designing the experience separately for each device, like at Duda we have something called Edit by Device, which lets you make changes per device so you can really differentiate the content per device experience while it's still one responsive website. That really can make a big impact on conversion, because no one wants to fill out a form on mobile, no one has a use for a click-to-call on a desktop or on a tablet since there's no phone options there. So you really want to differentiate your CTAs, differentiate your customer flows, and you need to be careful to do that per device as you go through. Our next mistake is treating everyone the same way. This is interesting. This is something that I think is still new for a lot of people, and that's the thought of personalizing a website. A lot of people, when they make websites, you're really thinking of just, okay, we're going to put this text, this copy up here, and this is going to be for everybody. But you actually have a lot of information to your advantage regardless of the platform that you're on. Everyone who loads a website, you can at least know as soon as that visitor loads the website what time it is, based on server information, as well as their IP address roughly where they are in the world, and you can use this to your benefit to help improve conversion. In fact, sites like Amazon do this all the time. Here's a screenshot from Amazon. So if you go there, you browse any product on Amazon, they can have a little timer here telling me if I order within the next amount of time here, with the next 5 hours and 30 minutes, I'll be able to get this product by Monday or 2 days from now by a certain date. So it's showing my current time and when I'll get it. That's just using time information from the server and what they know about their shipping table. So this is the sort of information that's pretty easy to access, but it also creates a compelling reason for that user to buy, because it's created a sense of urgency. And you never know, maybe September 20th is somebody's birthday. So creating that sense of urgency and using time to communicate that to a user is really, really effective. Also, you can choose someone's location as well, so knowing their location or where they are in the world is obviously useful. And if you notice, they even go further to personalize this. They can see that I've actually purchased this item before, and so they actually mention that here. So they're not using the same messaging for every single user. The page changes to communicate specifically to me, and that's really important. And so we've found that a lot of our pros over here at Duda use this, and we've found increases in conversion rate by up to 70% in some cases by using some website personalization. And we have a lot of personalization built into our platform, but here's this is what we have built in. You guys might be able to use this depending on what platform you're using. Time, location, where someone is, how many times they visited a platform, the type of device they're using a separate experience for tablet or mobile, for example. And then also what the source of the traffic was. Is it organic traffic or was it paid traffic from a PPC campaign? You can treat traffic differently based on the referral, the referring URL, and whether or not they have a ref tag on the URL. You can differentiate that content. So just thinking about where the audience is coming from, who they are, what their situation is, and how you can differentiate and communicate specifically with that user and design a page specifically for that user flow will really maximize your conversion and decrease your bounce rate. So it's something really to check out and take advantage of. Next, using huge images, and I know that this seems super simple because this is something that people have talked about on mobile for a long time. Okay, you can't use a huge image on mobile because it slows down your page speed, but page speed is important on desktop as well. Google has actually made this a ranking indicator for SEO, that slowing down that page speed on desktop will actually affect your SEO, so it's important both on desktop as well as mobile. And if you slow down page load times, it actually affects a customer's purchasing behavior. So ideally, you want a page load time of about a minute, and that's according to Nielsen, or not a minute, a second, I misspoke, because a page load time of a second or less doesn't interrupt that customer's purchase thought process. They'll continue to go through with that purchase behavior without really thinking or interrupting the flow too much. But if you have page load times of 3 seconds or more, you're really going to interrupt that purchase behavior, and you're really going to see a decrease in conversion rate. So definitely consider optimizing your images. There's a lot of free resources available for this, like JPEG Mini or compressedjpeg.com. If you guys are designers, you could probably just use Photoshop to optimize a JPEG really small. So this is something you should be familiar with if you're not, but I felt like I should mention it as well. Also, if you're using a platform that lets you differentiate by device, you can use different image sizes per device. So at Duda, you can load a large image on desktop and then a different, smaller, optimized image for a mobile phone, or a medium-sized image for like a tablet, so that you're using appropriate size image. If you're using just responsive design alone, and you're basically loading that huge image on desktop, tablet, and mobile, you really only have one choice there. So it can be really nice to have a platform that lets you differentiate between the devices and loading the correct images. Another one is using the wrong form fields. I think we all know how using too many form fields can really hurt your conversion rate. and keeping forms simple and short and to the point will really help out in conversion. But also you have to be careful to make sure that you're using the correct HTML5 form field type, especially when it comes to mobile, because depending on the input type that you choose, different keyboards get loaded on mobile. That could be a keyboard for a phone number, a keyboard for an email address, etc. And you don't want to be frustrating users by showing them the wrong keyboard. So always be careful of that and make sure that you're inputting the correct form field and input type. Next, we'll talk about hiding navigation, because I think this is kind of a trend somehow in the last couple of years. Building websites the trend seems to be using beautiful big images or maybe video backgrounds, which look fantastic. And some designers think that navigation buttons are clutter and try to hide them and stuff them under the rug underneath these menu buttons here, which I don't really know the perfect name for, so I'll just use the image for it. The thing is that your client's customers might not all recognize that button, especially if it's your clients are using paid traffic or you're designing a landing page for someone. Not every online customer is as savvy as the folks on this call, so they might not know what that means. I actually asked my girlfriend about it, and she had no idea what that button was. And I think she's a pretty savvy lady, but not everyone is. So adding some sort of word into your design, if you're going to do this, consider adding the word menu like we have here, so that users know, oh, okay, this is a menu. This is where I can find navigation. And speaking of navigation, consider highlighting the sections that are really relevant that you think your client's customers are really going to be looking for, especially when it comes to the mobile devices as well, because it can be kind of tricky to find the navigation that you're looking for. But if you know a lot of people are going to be looking for the Contact Us page or the Services page, consider highlighting that within the menu navigation, just to help guide customers into that purchase flow for your most wanted response, and you'll see a boost in conversion there as well. Okay, and number 7, assuming customers trust you. This is a big one, especially if your clients aren't a household name. Chances are they're not. Chances are they're not a Google, a Yahoo, an eBay, that everyone recognizes the name. And in order to win over someone's trust, in order to purchase your product or your client's product or service, it can be really, really effective to add what we call social proof, or what is called social proof. You'll see Amazon does this with like reviews. Like you'll go to see a product and you'll see, oh, 200 people have reviewed this and said this is a good product. Okay, I think I'm willing to give it a try or willing to give it a shot. And ways that you can add this onto your site that are really easy. Customer testimonials. Ask your clients if they have customers that are willing to say something about their product or service. Chances are they probably do. They have some fans in their customer base. Take those quotes, put them in large quotes, include a picture of the customer. Don't worry if the customer's ugly or not super attractive. That's fine, because they're genuine and they're real. Never make up testimonials. Don't make up quotes, even if it's not perfect. It's so much better if it's genuine and it's real. And if you have more than one, that's even better. And adding these sort of customer testimonials, humans are we're kind of a group animal. We pay attention to what other people are doing as cues to how we should react. In fact, there's a really famous study where researchers went to New York City and they had someone stand on the sidewalk and just look up at the sky. There was nothing up there. They were just looking up, and they looked to see how many people would go and would also look up. And a couple of people looked up to see what the person was looking at, didn't see anything, and walked away. But when they had a group of 5 people stand on the sidewalk and look up at the sky, now they had up to 20 or 30 people standing around trying to see what those 5 people were looking at. So the more social proof you can add to a website, the more you're going to boost conversion. So definitely consider adding it. And I'll add one other thing to this sort of trust theme here, and that's consider adding something like SSL. SSL is a secure connection. That's when your browser will load HTTPS instead of HTTP. You can see we've got in the screenshot here a little green lock with the little green HTTPS, and that just means the connection between the server and the user loading the website is secure, and they're seeing the content that you designated for them to see, that no third parties have intercepted or replaced any of that content. And that could be really, really relieving or really, really relaxing to someone who isn't familiar with you when they see, oh, okay, this person has a secure website. They've gone through whatever certification you need to get that. These people are who they say they are, and the fact that you've gone through that little extra step is just one little added measure of trust that user might see with you. And with Duda, SSL is included. We actually have a partnership with SSL Everywhere, so all of our sites get SSL for free. It's a really cool project. You can get it added to your sites even if you're not on Duda, but it's definitely something that you want to consider adding to your client site if possible. So that's it for my 7 conversion-killing mistakes. So I should let you know, here's a great example of social proof, by the way. Here's John Turner. He's one of our resellers who says he can create websites about half the time with Duda as it took him with WordPress. So we do have a reseller program that lets, again, we're focused on agencies or people who build websites for other people. So if this is you, we have a great set of tools, some discounted pricing, and improved support available. So if this is something that you might be interested in, I'm actually going to just pop up here just because we're kind of curious. If you are interested in this, just let us know in this yes box here. If you're not interested, that's cool. No worries. We don't want to pressure anybody in to, if you're not interested in it, we don't want to bother you. If you might be, if you're curious, feel free to put that in too. So we're just kind of curious what you guys think if you build sites for other people or if you're happy with your platform, whatever. So we'll give you guys a few more seconds to fill that out. Great. I see like almost 80% of you have completed it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So again, that's my time. I promised you it would be quick today, and I think it was. So if you have any questions about Duda for me, maybe you have questions for Jason or 99 Designs, feel free to toss them into the questions box, and I'll do my best to answer them and stick around to help you guys out. So again, thank you so much for coming. Carla's asking, I'm not a designer. Is your site user-friendly for someone like me? Absolutely. Our site, we have a number of templates included in our site so that are already pre-designed to give you a good starting point. I think that our site is uniquely flexible in that it's really easy to make a great-looking website with Duda. I make fantastic-looking websites. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm not a designer either, and I've been able to make some fantastic-looking websites. That being said, if you are a designer, you can really use our platform to go to the next level. I did a webinar with one of our designers here about a year ago, and he is a fantastic designer. He uses Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and this guy knows his stuff. And I was watching him design websites with our platform, and it was like, I don't know if you play an instrument, but like if you play a guitar and you're pretty good, you can play a few songs and hand it to someone else, and watching them just shred on it, it just, wow, I didn't know my instrument could do that. It was really cool. It was really a cool experience seeing that. So it's totally easy to make great-looking websites with Duda. We have a drag-and-drop site builder, snap to align. It's really easy to add padding and margin. It makes some beautiful-looking sites, but if you're an advanced or experienced designer, it's really flexible as well. So it's great for both, I would say. Awesome presentation. Thank you. Vladimir, you're very welcome. Yes, Scarlett, drag and drop for sure. Jiraj is asking, is it a free platform? Sorry, it's my first time. Yeah, so the platform, there's a free trial to the reseller platform, so if you want to test it all out, we have a 30-day free trial for you to check out so you can take the platform for a spin. And it's free to build websites on the platform. You only have to pay when you actually publish them and deliver them to your client. So it's very easy for you to take it for a very thorough and lengthy test drive if you're curious. A&M is asking if it's e-commerce friendly. Absolutely. We have a very robust e-commerce system with a full shopping cart and mobile-friendly checkout solution built in. It can integrate with whatever your payment provider is, whether that's PayPal, Authorize.net, Stripe, whatever, and yeah, it's a very robust product management system. Physio is asking, what's the best way to be motivated for web design, and do you have resources for us to learn? Oh, that's a very good question. Well, the best way to be motivated for web design, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. I think like motivated for the design or motivated to get out there and build sites. I think your best motivation to go out there and build sites should be to go out there and interact with people in your community and make some money and help some people out. You know, I still want to go and build websites for people even though I don't have the time to. Because they're just like, oh, if you just had a website, I'd be able to look up your hours, you know, really easily, or, you know, check up with you. But yeah, you know, get out there, make some money, help some people out. And we do have resources. We have a resource center. You can go to resources.dudamobile.com. We have a full resource center with training videos, with case studies about people who've used the platform. And if you are a reseller, we have white label handouts and sales tools on there for you to use as well. If you're not a reseller, you can join the free trial and then get access to all the reseller-specific stuff. So that's on there as well. And that's resources. You know, I'll include it in the follow-up email so that you guys all have it. Carla's asking, I have a designer from 99 Designs working on my site, and I'm worried. Do you have a connection with them to get the help that I need? I don't have a connection with, like, I'm not able to help you troubleshoot, or if you're having an issue with the 99 Design folks, I think contacting their support team would probably be the best way to go.
Yeah, I've just emailed, I just responded to your question, Carla. Hopefully you can see my comment, but yeah, if you could email me the specific details of your project, we can definitely look into it and see what we can do to help.
Okay, Teresa's saying, I missed the first couple of minutes. I apologize if you mentioned this already, but will this work with 99 Design website contests similar to the way Jimdo does now? You know, I'm not actually super familiar with that. Jason?
Yeah, so I can comment on this one as well. So we don't have a dedicated contest category with Duda like we do with Jimdo. But if you have a designer or designers that you work with directly already, then if you're working with them in a project and ask them whether they could help you create a website in Duda, then I'm sure they'd be able to do that for you. It would just have to be kind of handled on a case-by-case basis with the designer that you're working with. But unfortunately, we don't have it for contests yet.
Great question. Thank you, Teresa. Let's see, Islam is saying, can you arrange courses from A to Z of using Duda? That's a good question. We do have some courses available in the Resources Center, and then we also have in our support portal or our help center at support.dudamobile.com, we have a full product walkthrough of using our responsive website builder. I think I have like 15 short videos that I created in there that walk you through just getting set up and all the basics of using the editor all the way through site publishing. So we have all of those available. And a playlist on our YouTube channel as well. Anam says, thank you. Carlos asking, what size of photos do you suggest I purchase from Shutterstock? Okay, so to be honest, if you're going to purchase your photos from Shutterstock, I would always go with the largest size available. There's no reason to buy a smaller version. I'd just go ahead and I would download that, and then I'd crop it myself to a size that fits for the device that you're putting it on. So if you're putting it on desktop, you probably want it at least 1,400 pixels wide, and if you're going to be using it on mobile, you probably want it to be at least 500 pixels wide, something like that. So that would be a loose suggestion. I know at Duda, you upload the largest version that you have, and then we automatically optimize and create 5 optimized versions of that image at different sizes for different uses throughout the site based on the types of device that you're using, thumbnails, etc. So we actually optimize those for you automatically, and then you use the different versions of them on the different devices. So we make that really, really easy, so I'm a little bit spoiled and haven't had to manually do that in quite some time. But if you're buying it, I'd buy the biggest one available and then resize it to fit your needs. And everyone else here seems to be saying thank you. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys were a really great crowd of folks to talk to. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out, Cody@dudamobile.com. I'd be happy to answer your questions and help you out. And thank you to 99 Designs for having me over today to talk with you guys. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thanks for sharing, Cody, and thanks everyone else for joining.
Thanks, Jason. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.